What's up, everyone? Welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer, and this is Crossover Commerce, presented by Ping Pong Payments, the leading global payments provider helping sellers keep more of their hard-earned money. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode, part 2 of the day, episode of Crossover Commerce. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer, and this is my corner of the internet, where I bring the best and brightest in the Amazon and e-commerce space. What does that mean to you? Well, if you've been a member of the show or a listener to the show, that means you're going to get great insider tips, tricks, information, whatever you can do to apply to your e-commerce business. Whether you're just starting out or you've been a seller for a couple of years or you're looking to expand your empire, this is the show for you. I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. We've had 200 and now this is 46 episodes of Crossover Commerce, and every episode is packed full of information with, I call friends of the show after they make it with the show with me. So without further ado, every episode here on Crossover Commerce is presented by Ping Pong Payments, helping more sellers keep more of their hard-earned money when it's paying out suppliers, manufacturers. Anytime money exchanges hands, you don't want to pay those fees, those international wire fees, or those exorbitant, ridiculous fees that they tack on to you at banks or anything of that sort. You want to be able to put that money back into your pocket or apply it to your bottom line somewhere else where it can help you grow your business. Don't just pay a fee to pay a fee. Save some money with Ping Pong Payments. Just go to usa.pingpongx.com/podcast for all of the past episodes. Plus, you can sign up for free account today and just mention Crossover Commerce sent you. That's basically as easy as it can get. Free to sign up, free to save money. What more can you do? So thank you, Ping Pong Payments, for sponsoring Crossover Commerce. All right. As I mentioned before, if you saw me on this morning, this is not a double take. This is a second episode today. I'm crazy enough to do 2 live podcasts a day. And because I'm crazy, I wanted to have a lot of fun on the second podcast today. And I reached out to one of my quote friends of the show when this was announced. And I said, tell me more about this Buy with Prime program. Everyone's heard of it. Everyone knows what it is, or you've heard the buzziness of it the last 2 weeks. And he goes, let me tell you about it. And I got a paragraph upon paragraph of information, which is super awesome and amazing. And I said, we need to record this. So without further ado, friend of the podcast, friend in real life as well, because we met up. So Talal Asad of Brand Together, welcome back to Crossover Commerce. Thanks, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me again. Twice in a day. So I was wondering how you got to like episode 200. What did you say? 46?
246. Yeah, you came on like right before.
Okay, now it makes sense if you're doing 2 episodes a day.
This is very few and far between. I've done as crazy as much as 6 in a week.
Oh, wow.
And I had to stack 2 in a day. Yesterday's person canceled. Someone came on today last second, so we kind of just evened it out. We're on the track for about 1 every 2 days or so. That's not too bad. Yeah, content's king over here. I like to be up there and talk about e-commerce and have a place where people can learn and grow every day. So pretty easy, right?
Cool.
I got nothing else to do, right? I get this, Tal. I was someone one of my colleagues had mentioned and say, you have the cushiest job in e-commerce. And I said, okay, let me tell you about what I have to do is be into every single conversation, hold my own, talk about anything and everything on this podcast, and then also be intelligent about it and bring actionable insights, and then also talk about all the other external things in e-commerce that we represent. So I'm double dipping on I'm facilitating and throwing out information. It's a lot. So because she's job in e-commerce, maybe I love it. I think I'm crazy enough just to get by with it. So there it is. But yeah, 246 episodes. We're trucking along. I know people have done more than that, but hey, thanks for hopping on again today. I know we had to reschedule from last week. This would have been more of a breaking news kind of segment, and we were talking about it again. The new Buy with Prime program. I love this title. Forget 3PL. Amazon's going 5PL. So before we get started, what is the new Buy with Prime program, Talal? It's it was announced recently. What is this program supposedly announced by Amazon, and who's it helping?
So in terms of like Amazon's dominance of e-commerce, this is probably the biggest announcement that they've made of a product that they've delivered out since Prime became Prime. I
Really?
yeah. Just trying to think of it from like from their point of view, and this is all conjecture, obviously, but like from their point of view, Prime, the biggest thing with that is like you get 2-day shipping and you're part of this network and everything. And now, if you take it from like, where's my cameras? Like goes this way.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. So like Amazon knows what 55% of some brands is like e-commerce sales, right?
Sure.
If we take the quote of like Amazon is 55% of e-commerce, and not all brands. Like this is assuming the
Yeah.
brands are on,
We're
we're
rounding
making
up
the
and down.
assumption that
Yeah,
the brands
exactly.
on Amazon. Amazon can read or get data or buy things from Nielsen or from IRI and conjecture and kind of come up with a decent amount of numbers on like where retail sales are for that brand. And we're talking big brands here, not
Mhm.
small P&Ls or any of that, but like
Like a
bigger brands.
Samsung or
Yeah.
like a big brand. Yeah.
So they can easily buy that data and figure out like this is how much their market dominance in retail is. They can also kind of see the market dominance in retail on other .coms, the big box .coms as well, right? And so there's some data that they can do for that, like with scan analysis or panel data. They don't know what you're doing on your website. Like they just don't have that information. Some conspiracy theorists might be like, if your back end is in AWS, they could probably steal from that. Like
Mm.
I don't know how. I don't think so. I think that they do actually operate pretty independently of one another, unless there's some data agreement that I don't know about. So taking it from Amazon's point of view, it's like if you want to be the market dominator in e-commerce, this is literally the last major step from like a front end perspective. But then they added in the back end perspective too, which is now they're doing the fulfillment piece of it as well. So they're just trying to dominate all corners. And that's why I call it like 5PL, right? Like the word 5PL is kind of a made up term, right? Some people
Right.
say there is such thing as a 5PL, but like it's kind of you get to define 5 and 4PL, right? In terms of like how much more of it is it than just like a warehouse that ships stuff for you.
Right. The
This is like
circle. Yeah. This is like the circle or the 7 realms of Kevin Bacon. Like how close are you to like
how,
knowing that person or that entity? This would be like if Amazon knows that brand and how far away are they can, no matter where they're at, it's always can come back to I have my hand in it or I know that information. So that's what you mean by 5PL.
totally. And not only that though, but even going back like supply chain wise, all of the announcements that they've made in the last year about what they're doing from a supply chain standpoint too, right? And just how you can always tell what Amazon's thinking is just like look at the marketing emails that you get from Amazon all the time, right? If they're pushing this global logistics, and they've been pushing global logistics for a while, they've been pushing upstream fulfillment, right? So like to have the warehouse that sits next to the FBA warehouse, so that if you get all of your stuff in and you don't have a place that you can just store, they can do upstream now too. So they can store for you, and then from there they can ship it to the FBA fulfillment centers, because they don't want you to use FBA fulfillment centers as storage, right? So like they're building dedicated, palletized, what's it called for that for upstream. Amazon Logistics exists, right? They have like
Mhm.
those trucks that we see everywhere, and they come and they pick up your stuff if you use most of the partnered carrier. Amazon no longer really relies on UPS and the post office, right? With
And
their,
FedEx. Yeah.
it's almost all of their stuff now these days is their own vans that leave multiple times per day. And they outsource a lot of these too, right? Like those vans are outsourced. Some of these upstream facilities, some are owned, some are outsourced. Some FBA facilities are owned, and so this is what I mean by 5PL, right? Like they have all of the early stuff in the supply chain, and now they're like finishing it off with like all the way through your payment processor, right? Amazon Pay is the payment processor. I'm guessing Amazon Pay is going to be the payment processor that processes buy with Prime, right? Just because like it kind of makes sense that that would be the case. I don't know
Mhm.
because I haven't really seen a buy with Prime live yet. But if they have Amazon Pay and they have buy with Prime and they say you push the button to buy, I'm going to assume that they're going to use something similar, if not the same thing. So you've just completely dominated every single aspect of e-commerce at that point, and you've given a really good market proposition to both the seller and to the buyer, right? How many of us who are watching have conversion rates on their Shopify in the double digits? Like I only know of 2 sites I've ever run that has double digit conversion rates at good numbers. And they're just so few and far between. But if you asked your conversion rates on Prime, like double digits is like the floor for unless you're like apparel or an expensive product. Like
Right.
double digit Prime conversion rates are like where you should be. Even when they added in all the mobile data, right? All of a sudden, our conversion rates plummeted. Our unit session percentage because of mobile data was never added before, but now mobile data is there. So it's like, but even with that influx, like you still have double digit conversion rates. So here we are sitting with Amazon, knowing that they can make a really good case to the shops, to the shop owners, the brands, you guys, saying, hey, if people think now that their entire product is going to be covered in a Prime sense, where it's like they use whatever payment information is saved on their Amazon, they're going to get the product within 1 or 2 or 3 days, like, and it's backed by Prime. I don't even know if it's going to be backed by Prime in the same way because I
Oh,
haven't.
you mean the return sensor,
The
the customer
return
service
sense,
center.
yeah, I don't know if that's going to
That's
be
tricky.
the case. Because and I've tried to look into it, but let's say that is the case. At that point, like it depends on like you and your level of like how much you want to give Amazon power, but like it's a pretty good proposition for everyone, right? Like the consumer will probably be a lot happier and a lot, your conversion rates will increase from because of that button. And then as the seller, if the Prime fulfillment rate maintains at Prime fulfillment rate, which I don't know if it's going to be like your exact Prime fulfillment rate or if it's going to be like on the multi-channel fulfillment rate, which is still a really good fulfillment rate compared to what a lot of people can negotiate on their own. Like all of a sudden at that point you have, and when I say rate, I mean like the fee that you're paying for fulfillment. At that point, like you still have pretty good proposition all the way through. So it just seems like it's almost like a no-brainer type deal.
So here's
That's
the
the
question.
positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say. So I just put it in the comment section if you're watching us live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. So in the comment section, I put the direct link on Amazon and how it got started by with Prime, for you. Blah 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 blah. All their like conjecture of like this is why it's amazing. This is why what it is. But essentially, it's saying buy with Prime, a new way to grow your D2C store. So it's specifically targeting if I have a platform, e-commerce website, brand new website that I am driving traffic to anyways. On the back end, like Talal said, they get to the checkout cart. They're like, I want to buy this information. Instead of putting in my credit card information of, whatever it is, you're saying like they're leveraging obviously fulfillment, obviously get there and fast and free and within a 1 or 2 day delivery. So it's pulling from, I'm assuming your AMZ FBA fulfillment inventory, then send it to the customer. It's claiming to, again, these are 3 major bullet points that Amazon is claiming: your store, your customers, build direct consumer relationships with the control of the customer data, and it has to learn more. So you're building your store, you're still getting your customers, so on and so forth, but it's easy to set up as well. So pros and cons of it. Not a lot of cons initially as we look at it, and it's offering trusted shopping experience, but it doesn't seem, it's just like a widget. It basically is saying buy with Prime, get it as soon as tomorrow or whatever it looks like. You're just going through the same checkout process. I've had this conversation of a couple of people. I'm going, initially, would you still have access to like the customer data of where they're located, like how they're paying it, all this other stuff? If I'm going through this widget, what data am I still getting and what am I getting or not getting, I should say, is the more pressing and concerning thing. Is, am I still getting that customer avatar? Are they matching? They're matching probably Amazon customer data versus like D2C customer data, and how that's kind of going across board, building almost lookalike audiences. Is that what I'm assuming is going to happen with that?
Well, I mean, you should retain all of, if this is going to go and live on top of your regular native site, like let's say
Sure.
like Shopify, the order is still going to get processed as if it's like your order.
Right. So you get customer information,
You should be getting everything, and then
mobile.
it's just the
Yeah.
gateway and where it goes. But so we talked about all the positives, right?
Sure.
So I mean, I'm sure, and we've all dealt with the negatives of Amazon, right? Even when things look all shiny and they promise things are going to look good, but like there are a couple of things that I think that everyone should probably know, and like not know, but like just remember. First of all, this thing is in beta, so we don't know what this widget's going to look like. Some people might already have been invited to it, but
Yeah,
it
the
doesn't
join
seem
an
like it's
interest
all that
list. Yep.
robust yet. It seems like it's very much like focused on one, like the products at a time that are in Amazon. But like, what if you have like a catalog that's in Amazon, but not a lot of products not in Amazon, right? It doesn't look like you're going to be able to like build that cross basket, which you could do if you had like Amazon Pay or any other payment provider.
Sure.
Um, the second piece of it is it going to draw from only your FBA, or Amazon is now starting to really separate FBA from multi-channel fulfillment, where it's dedicated multi-channel fulfillment stuff, so it doesn't show up in Amazon boxes, and it doesn't draw down from your FBA if you have like a really fast moving FBA store. So those are questions that you're going to need to ask and kind of figure out if you get invited to this, or you could reach out to me, and I can actually put you in touch with some people that might be able to help if you're doing volume on your site. The third big piece is, like you said, the data. Like, what are you sharing? What are you going to be able to retain? Are you going to have to do like some crazy weird like privacy stuff that Amazon does? But for all intents and purposes, the thing that this thing is your site. It's your site data. So it's like Amazon is not in a position to be making demands of your, of like that you can't use your own data for this thing, or people just won't adopt it, because that's one of the biggest reasons why people are stepping off of Amazon, is because Amazon doesn't want to give people the rights to their customer. It's Amazon's customer when it's convenient for Amazon, and it's your customer when it comes to tax time, right? So, and then do you want to share this data with Amazon at the end of the day? Like, we have evidence that Amazon has taken some people's private label products, and remember that camera bag, and they had to make that commercial where Amazon Basics knocked it off almost to a T.
Yeah.
And it's like, if Amazon is noticing that your website is doing double Amazon and you're doing really well on Amazon, and then they're like, oh, not only is this like, a $3 million ASIN, but this is actually really supposed to be like a $12 million ASIN. Like, are they gonna push for more concessions? Now, a lot of times when Amazon releases these products, they if you go and dig through their terms, like, they do say that they're not shared with each other, that these are different teams and whatnot. And so, like, I like to take them at their word, but that's up for you to make that decision on, and how things can be proven or not proven. But yeah.
No, so yeah, those are all great points, and I digging even further. And again, this is something that's constantly evolving, and I just happened to see these kind of questions that popped up, which we talked about. Topics include: can I build a direct relationship with my shoppers with Buy with Prime? And according to Amazon and from their website, it says yes. Buy with Prime, you will receive shopper order information, including email addresses for customer orders, which you can use to provide customer service and build direct relationships with shoppers. So they're already, things of people who are like, well, I don't get my information. According to Amazon, you can do that. Can I buy with Prime if I do not sell on Amazon.com? Yes. You do not need to be selling on Amazon.com to use Buy with Prime. While Buy with Prime will initially be available by invitation only to merchants already using Fulfillment by Amazon, it will be rolled out more broadly over time. Very interesting point there.
That would be probably using like their multi-channel fulfillment
Yeah.
strategies.
So again, I mean, we can go to that point here shortly. A couple more things of: am I required to have price and selection partially with my Amazon.com listings to use Buy with Prime, or parity? Excuse me. No, Buy with Prime gives you the freedom to choose how and where to sell your products. You do not need to sell on Amazon to use Buy with Prime. Merchants that do not sell on Amazon.com are not required to have price and selection parity with their Amazon.com listings.
That was a big point that I wanted to talk about, is the price parity.
Yeah. So I think there's two major points. And then the last thing that they highlight here: does Buy with Prime replace my existing checkout? It does not. It offers a way for Prime members to quickly check out. They're just directed to Buy with Prime hosted checkout and purchase. Complete shoppers are redirected back to your site. So again, even the post-purchase,
like PayPal,
cyclical, almost like a PayPal, any sort of like checkout. Yeah. So the two major points that kind of really kind of stand out there is the if I don't sell on Amazon, which again is attacking the third-party warehouses and things like that for people who are just merchant fulfilled, or they have a brick and mortar, things like that. And they're fully focused on just e-commerce and not on Amazon. But to have that parity with Amazon.com listings, if you sell on Amazon.com, which more likely than not you are, if you're a brand on Amazon, you're just trying to distinguish the difference. So what do you want to tackle first there?
Yeah. Either, I guess, if you're
Let's talk
not
about
on,
the price parity. I think like that's important. So
that's really
what
important.
does that mean for people who are listening? They're like, I don't understand why that's important to make note of.
So Amazon, if people who were selling years ago, like I think before 2019 is when they quietly like erased this clause from their contract, from your BSA. But if some people recall, Amazon always had a clause called the price parity rule. And it was actually a really scary clause that a lot of people did not read. But it used to say, if you were selling on Amazon for more than you were selling on other websites, or including your own, Amazon reserved the right to refund every single person who ever purchased the difference of those two prices. If
Not
they
full refund, but
if
like,
they
hey,
caught
to
you short.
match the
The match, yeah,
difference.
the
Okay.
difference between like that price and
Is that listed price, or is that like coupon, or like what are we talking about? Like
it would be like the price that, like, if your website was like $20 and you were selling on Amazon for 22, like they would
gotcha.
differentiate, they would refund the $2 for the
Right.
people who were
So if
complaining.
you had if it was still the same, like 22 and 22, and you had a $2 coupon that you just magically send out to people, that was not a competing
Yeah,
offer.
promotions
There you
is
go.
usually a way that you can get around things like that.
Yep.
I personally, I don't know how you choose to enforce things like that. Like
That's how my
I
company
personally
did.
think that Amazon's like interpretation of some rules is kind of iffy at best. But I'm no
Yeah,
lawyer, so I'm not going to comment
sure.
on that. Yeah, so that rule used to exist, and then there was like all this antitrust stuff that was coming up and all these investigations, and Amazon just like quietly kind of deleted that and instead kept it with like more of like what you would consider a most favored nation rule, which basically says like Amazon deserves to be priced the best, and Walmart has the same rule as well, and all of us will know how that manifests in losing your buy box for a price health suppression, right? Everyone has probably had that if you're selling on Walmart or
Multiple channels,
Target
yeah.
or Walgreens or any other big box website, that Amazon's crawlers sees your exact product, which is why on Walmart.com there's like a place for ASIN. Never ever put your ASIN. Like,
Don't
why
match those
would you
things up.
ever
Yeah.
tell Walmart what your ASIN is? Just make it as hard as possible for them to figure it out. But between those two, those things was like this price parity point here is your website never seems, and I've never noticed it, but price on your website has never blocked, or I've never seen a buy box suppression occur from a website price difference between website and Amazon. I don't know if anyone else has, but yeah, that's my personal experience after like 30 or so brands of having different prices. Like I've never seen Amazon do a price suppression on website. So now though, you're doing like almost a direct link, especially if you have product at FBA. I know they're saying, there's potential for you to do this off of Amazon products as well, but for the ones that are on Amazon, so you're giving Amazon more insight to your pricing, and you're giving them a direct link, whether or not you want to do that, especially if you sell cheaper on your site. I know some people who sell more expensive on their site because fulfillment is more expensive. In that case, Amazon will be totally fine with that, right? But when your site is cheaper than Amazon, just keep that in mind, that this could be something that's like almost like a Trojan horse into pricing on making Amazon cheaper. Again,
So,
whether or not they really do share that data with one another is another thing.
so here's my question. How does Amazon make money on this? Like, what ways does Amazon go into? Like, they're not doing this just to give people this out of the kindness of the heart. How are they winning in this context? Like, obviously ease of use. They're getting the data. Are they getting any, like, am I as a seller, am I going to pay any more because of
They're probably
this?
going to get a transaction fee, whatever Amazon pays transaction fee is. So what's
Amazon
that, usually
Pay
3%?
transaction fee. Okay.
Yeah. like the processing fee, but of course, like they pay some of that out to like Visa and Mastercard and stuff as well. So it's
Well,
like,
they're getting pressed on. We saw that in Europe of
yeah,
Visa and them didn't have an agreement, so they just said we're no longer accepting Visa in Europe or something along those lines,
I think they
uh,
walked it back though. I think,
and they walked it back.
yeah,
Well, Amazon won that one, and they both are now in a happy, healthy relationship. Of course, healthy marriage again.
as healthy and happy as when you're dealing with billions in dollars could possibly be, right?
Right. Either not make a lot of money on it or make zero.
Yeah.
So which one would you rather fight? So a lot of this has insightfulness again, like the scope again. I know why Amazon we kind of cover this. Amazon's trying to get insight into data, into how people are how are they going to build from this? Like what is the end goal that you think of? This is a good play for them. Like what do they want to achieve from this?
Well, like anyone who has a warehouse or like understands like how 3PLs and stuff work, like they operate on super thin margins, right?
Mm.
So Amazon's going to obviously make money on fulfillment fees, but like how much could they possibly be making on this? I have no idea, but like Amazon has probably some of the best buying power in the world when it comes to fulfillment. And as they start to develop their own networks out and everything, you know, we've seen that they're relying on building out their own versions of it and just outsourcing kind of like the white labeling basically those vans and everything, but it's still them at the end of the day. So is this a play to like really just box out and own the warehouse space? And then lastly is, you know, you have these websites and stuff like that who are also trying to do this, right? Very new information that came yesterday is Shopify closed their deal with Deliver. And so now
Delivery, yep, for
Shopify
2 point,
owns
yeah,
2 point something billion dollars, right?
good for
So
them.
that's what we're seeing. Like we're seeing these people, and this goes back to like my like calling it a 5PL, right? Like where people are trying to dominate the entire space. And this looks very similar to this is Amazon's, Amazon's version
Their
of it.
next move, their version of the chess
Yeah, their
move
next
of
version of the chess. And then like Shopify, I think the Shopify Deliver deal, I could have sworn it actually happened before. So I was like, when they announced it
I think
yesterday,
it was yeah, I think it
already
was I think it was teased as this is a potential that Shopify was gonna make that transaction,
yeah,
and I spoke with people who actually worked at Deliver, as recent as yesterday, and they're, like, super excited about it, that it went through and or it's been agreed upon, and, that is a big play, and, not knowing 100% about Deliver is going to be great in terms of the fulfillment network of like how you can get from your products obviously to the end network of their vast network that they're building out, which is really cool. So is that deal kind of in response to this deal?
so
Like I
speeding it up, if it, yeah, I mean, like, in just getting it done, as a casual observer, I would say like this is makes sense. Like that's a
yeah, because Amazon news was 2 weeks ago. This happened in again 2 weeks later, almost on the
yeah.
dot.
Or did
This is
Amazon or did Shopify buy ShipBob? I can't remember. Yeah,
They
never
all, they
mind.
all kind of like blur together. Like
They all
everyone's
bought,
buying
yeah,
everyone. Everyone's buying things. Everyone's not buying things. Like you and I run in the same circles. We're constantly getting thrown. Like businesses are constantly being purchased and not purchased. So yeah. So in this context, I
not
guess
Amazon. Sorry, I meant Shopify. But no, I don't think that that's
right. So Shopify for the news people haven't learned. So Shopify buy and deliver is a big deal because if I have a Shopify store, I can obviously tie into the network of deliver who can help fulfill my goods probably at a hopefully better rate. But obviously, if I'm Shopify, I want that whole that ecosystem, just like the 3PL, 5PL, or whatever we're dictating here. They have that insight as well. Um, but is that a big enough splash of like who wins in that battle? I guess does somebody come out maybe with more? I would think like the Amazon thing would be more of a big deal than the Shopify trying to go the other direction and
I
building a
remember.
logistics
Yeah,
network.
I remember speaking to someone at Shopify like pre-pandemic, and they were talking about like fulfillment network is their next big thing. So like they've been teasing building out a fulfillment network for a while. So like what's the next step after that is I don't know, like
Is Deliver big enough so it, like, actually takes on the fulfillment network that Amazon has built out? Like, I don't know the
I don't think
scale.
anyone can take on the
Well,
network
that's what I'm saying is, like, how do you without throwing billions of dollars at it, which is
yeah.
in one acquisition, that's what Shopify just did. I don't know how you built that out as substantial. And again, we've talked in the context of like Walmart can turn essentially just their stores into warehouses. Essentially, if you really wanted to get super intuitive and very basic around that, in theory, you can just pull from shelf and deliver via that if you wanted to. But besides that, I think no one else had in memory for myself, and I'm sure you, no one has that network that can build out and just instantly just compete with Amazon like that
Yeah.
if they like join forces.
Do you remember Symphony Commerce? I think they shut. I don't think they exist anymore, but they were like
It sounds
a
familiar. Were you asking about this earlier today?
yesterday. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So, do you know the drink Hint water? Do you remember? Do
Yes.
you see that around? Hint water was on Symphony, and Symphony had a network of like 7 or 9 fulfillment centers around the world. And their whole thing was they were like a Shopify, a web development firm, and they would develop the site for you. And then they would be your fulfillment partner as well. So they were like one of the first to actually do this entire thing from a native channel, right? Like that's not Amazon. Um, I haven't seen any information about them anymore. And then if I go to any site that used to be powered by Symphony, it doesn't exist anymore. So they died. It seems like they also
They
were
have
charging
been
like one
scrubbed
hundred
from the
twenty
internet.
thousand
Yeah.
dollars for a site. I remember.
It's
So
just probably like jet.com. Like you wish you can go to jet.com back when it was still a marketplace, and now it's just scrubbed from the internet. I had
yeah,
that conversation today. It's just like archaic now. If you know jet.com, you've been in the space a while, but that was only seven-ish years ago, 8 years ago. But this is what I'm talking. So with this, it so with Amazon, so Amazon made this announcement. It seems like a good deal. Like, is this a win for people who should do this? I guess I should say, like, if your initial assessment of this, who should be taking advantage of this or try to get on the wait list to do this?
yeah.
Anyone?
So if you're doing some volume, I think is a good first step. Because I think that when anything like Amazon is going to be in beta, they're like all of these programs for a while. It's going to be the ones that are like you can prove to Amazon that it's worth their time. Um, Look, if you're sitting there at like a 2.5% conversion rate and you have so much traffic, but you just are not able to like close the deal, and on Amazon people are buying your stuff hand over fist, like that's probably a pretty good indicator that if you gave people an Amazon option, that they would probably feel more comfortable on your site. If you're
Gotcha.
sitting there and you have a lot of cart loss, right, from like people from add to cart to all the way through checkout, this one click Prime thing is probably going to cut out your cart loss pretty significantly. Um, you need to really just go there and do a demo with them and see what they can and can't do. Because like if it sits there and like you can't, you have products that are not in Amazon but some in Amazon, like how is that going to be held? Like, can you do more than one product at a time right now? Like things like that are going to need to be worked out before it's like a true good option. But remember, this thing's in beta, and I'm sure it's going to grow and become a much bigger portion. And we're going to start noticing it a lot more in the ecosystem as well.
Right.
So,
And
and
they
then
had
the
to,
last thing is you have to be like a not paranoid person. Like I have a lot of clients who are like, I'm not giving Amazon a damn second more of my data, and like maybe those people probably don't have the stomach for this.
That's okay. And those people will exist out there. And we mentioned this earlier too in the episode. Does buy with Prime, does that have support? At the bottom, it's buried here at the bottom of the homepage. It's 24/7 support. We're here to help you always. You get always on support when you buy with Prime. I don't know if that's support of
The customer.
customer service,
Yeah. Do you
but
want to give Amazon customer service support of your site too? Like,
I don't know. I
yeah,
mean, more often than not, they just give away product
free
away for
product.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe there is no issue. I've never had an issue without getting, um, just getting a replacement. It's for logical reasons. It's not for me to say like, oh, I want to get them out of ranking or black hat or anything like that. So, interesting. So with that being said, so that's a good thing. Is this a I'm gonna go kind of I saw an article with Nike in it, and Nike's always fascinating me. I kind of like want to see where they go with this because Nike said it's very difficult to still compete on their own D2C website without the same fulfillment network as of like an Amazon and whatnot. And also just the third party sellers of Nike products on Amazon is still an issue with them. So I wonder if this is in a way to like maybe allure half-heartedly, like a way to get we're not selling on Amazon, but we're delivering through Amazon in a way of
The
I don't know.
loyalty.
Like I'm trying to think of like major brands that maybe
Yeah.
this is like a good in between of like we don't have to deal with like 7 to 10 days of free shipping and absorbent costs. And people don't want to wait that long. Maybe this is a halfway to put our inventory in their warehouses and call it a day.
Well, so here's one thing is like we sit here as like I don't know how many people who are going to be watching this are like actually in agencies or deal with what I would consider a major brand. And by a major brand, I mean, 50, $100 million legacy brand that's been around forever.
So you know this, all of them listen
All
to
of
the
them
podcast.
want to be, no, no,
They
but
will. They will be.
they are, they like everyone always thinks that those people have their stuff together and they like no one innovates slower than big brands.
Right.
They don't know how to DTC. Like it's just not in it's never been in their blood. They're for 100, 20, 30, 40, 100 years have been around through old boys networks and through like faxing order sheets and dealing with these archaic systems that were built in the 80s and 90s. Like don't for a second think that Nike, just because Nike has the name Nike, is actually good at direct to consumer. I can assure you, everyone watching this can innovate and get onto the direct to consumer and get their stuff out way faster than like the 7 layers of legal that need to go through to even like create Nike's like a widget on Nike.com. So that's when big companies talk about like how they can't compete, it's only because they are dinosaurs and can't compete because they have internal issues that are holding them from competing. If they
Interesting.
had if they had half of the talent that's listening to this right now actually running their e-commerce as opposed to like some 80-year-old running e-commerce, like, and they didn't have these crazy things with legal and they're always worried about things, unless they're, yeah, but like, and we're using Nike here as like, I don't know, Nike might be really good, but like these legacy brands, I'm using Nike as like an example, but they are so slow at getting anything done that's the problem more so than with the fulfillment networks.
Well, and I mean, it's not that Nike isn't obviously it's an amazing brand. It's a fantastic brand. But I think for brands out there and they're trying to grasp the concept of they think maybe more often than not they think that they don't need the support of externalized marketplaces and that the brand alone, the name alone should drive the traffic, should drive the want and the need. And hey, if I want L'Oreal products, I go to L'Oreal.com. Or if I want Nike products, I go to Nike.com or something along those lines. I don't need to go to Amazon or to eBay or all these other places for it. I want to get the newest and latest and greatest. I'm going to go to
Yep.
their website. So I don't know if it's just a play of, I mean, this is huge for logistics, and the big touting is like free shipping, 55% on their website. 55% of people think it's the number one thing that makes them purchase something. Like free shipping is great. I love that. I agree. I think free shipping, a lot of people put emphasis on that, and you don't have to pay an additional fee on top of the product itself. Um, is that big enough to actually move the needle? Like, I don't know how much of this is going to drive a needle for people. Again, it's like a MasterCard checkout or MasterCard Express, whatever they had those like, hey, your information is just tied to your account.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just make it check out quicker. I don't know if this is a play towards that or if this is going to move a needle like 0.5%, 1%. Like you said, it's very fascinating in that context what they want to achieve down the road with it because, like you said, they still want to be there. Maybe it's just a brand recognition of, oh, I can buy this on Nike or I can buy this on Amazon. Maybe I just go to Amazon.com when I'm at checkout and I just go to the website and I buy from there. Then they can just get that like passive traffic on there. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't either. And I think the big thing is like with these really, really big brands, then again, it comes back to like, what if half of their inventory isn't even going to be part of it? I think that's no, that's a really good point. And yeah, at the end of the day, it is like a way to give a lot of people or a lot of these brands like a little bit more of a hey, it's easier for your customer, so this should be easier for you. Um, yeah, no, that's a really good point.
Well,
Just
yeah, go ahead.
a reminder on that though is not reminder, but another piece of that was, God, you were mentioning something, and I wish I wrote it down. But you said something around the lines of Anyway, we'll move on since this is live.
No, that's okay. No, if it comes back to it, we'll just like pretend we edited it out and all this, and we'll just go back to it. No, cool. I think that's a cool bow on this program. Wait and see. It's not open to everyone. It's not like a. Oh, is this? I guess the other initial thing is this something new, or has Amazon tried this before? Did we? I think we may have said like you were like this seems like this program, but like 3 years ago or something when they like got rid of it. Now they're bringing it back and repackaging it. Is this a brand new program that's never been touched or attempted before in the Buy with Amazon program?
No, I mean, I think I made a mistake on that. I don't know if this looks like a very new program,
Very new. Okay, cool.
but the difference is it kind of looks like it's an enhancement to Amazon Pay, right? It's like
Yeah.
like now we fulfill it as well as we take the payment processing from you as well, like making it easier and using Amazon saved, the customer saved information.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
the one part that it came back to me was the customer confusion portion at the beginning. Like, I
Mm.
think people are going to be like, "What do you mean Prime? Like, what do you mean Amazon? Like this, I'm not buying on Amazon. I'm buying on this website. Why does this say Prime?" And so, like, who knows? That I think is going to be an education thing. That's going to just take a little while for people to get used to, as more and more companies adopt it. If companies adopt it, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to actually be received.
Yeah. Prime. When you say I want it with Prime or something like that, people are thinking, oh, I'm not buying, it's not a credit card, it's not a financial
Right.
thing. It is a logistics thing. People are like, I can get it with Prime in 2 days, or I'm watching it on Prime. Like it's almost a verb. It's like Googling it, but
Yeah.
Prime is now
Timing
used in like
it.
5 different ways, and now
Yeah.
it's like 7 different ways. Like it's growing a lot. So it's almost like this verb that constantly is changing, very confusing. I agree. Buy with Prime. I don't know. I
I don't
mean,
know either.
I'm an Amazon credit card, so I mean, I
Yeah.
know I get my 5% every time I shop on there. So
Oh, that's the
we'll
other
see.
thing. Are you going to get your 5% on websites now? And are they going to tout that and be like, you get your 5% on anything you buy on, Amazon, as well as anyone would buy with Prime? And so that would be a great marketing position from them.
There's that, and then also the percentage of affiliate traffic too. Again, like I'm kind of going through this process of you're paying the fee, and then if it's driven to a website, at what juncture are you going to say like, hey, the conversion happened via Amazon Prime, or if it happened through like influencer, or it happened through an associates program, or you know what I mean? Some one of those ways of how are you getting the traffic to you, and who do you give credit to?
Yeah.
That's kind of a sticky situation on the back end. Like, is this going to cost you more? Maybe I don't know. Like, hopefully, the benefits outweigh the costs for doing business as well. Anyways, so with that, I know I have another banner too. I want to kind of like jump on this because I know you. It's passionate program for you, and it's coming up. Mexico trip, which we've been pushing and we've been talking about, and constantly we had Chelsea on, and there's so much cool stuff coming out. And people ask me all the time, "Oh, I need to jump on this. What's the Mexico trip?" People are asking. I know you're a part of this. Tell me about it. What's been going on with the Mexico trip, and why are you excited about it?
Yeah. So we are about a month away from the Mexico trip. It's going to start on June 4th. And the biggest part of the Mexico trip is to learn how to source your products and supply in Mexico. And so, as you know, like with all of what happened in the last 2 years, and with even right now, you're still hearing places in Shanghai and in China that are like shutting down, and the power outages and COVID, the zero COVID policy, like it came to kind of a conclusion for everybody that our supply chain is not is not optimal, and starting to think about different and diversifying your supply chain in a place that's closer, and that is part of a free trade agreement with the United States, which means you have less less time to get here, cheaper to get here, and at the same time it is no duties and tariffs on some of your products. Do have pretty heavy duties and tariffs like apparel and stuff like that. So that's just we're going to Mexico. There's two parts. So the first part is all about sourcing, and then there will be a trade show in Mexico City during that first part, which is from the 4th to the 9th. And then on the 9th to the 12th, we're going to Cancun for a mastermind for top level sellers to share all of the fun secrets by sunny Cancun and on the beach and have some fun like we normally do. We're all partiers, right? Like the e-commerce community loves their parties. So we would love to see you either on the first part of it, which is sourcing, the second part of it in Cancun, or for the whole thing. You can go to themexicotrip.com and shoot Ryan if you got like What's
Yeah,
it called?
no, I'm putting in there. So yeah, we I can tell you how excited I was to kind of learn about it, and then obviously like promote. This is something I know. I reached out to you and I said, how can I help? Like, because it's such a cool, insightful thing. I think a lot of people just don't understand. Like, hey, I want to go where it's easier, where it's cheap, and this was like talks of like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's like, again, so many great sourcing companies and that are coming out of China, and they just have the network and establishment, and they pour money into it. India, we have a really great relationship with sourcing and supplying in India. I think a lot of people's frustrations is my goods were sitting on the water, and I could not sell them after them sitting on there for 3 weeks, or it just cost too much. It was like $20,000 a container, so on and so forth. And I think this is just like a fact finding mission. I think a lot of people just want to know, is it possible for me to do it in these other places, maybe more cost effectively? Because as entrepreneurs, if costs continue to rise, you either have to increase it in other places, or you have to adapt and cheapen out somewhere else. And that's ping pong doesn't want you to do either. We want you to like save money. So how do you put more money to your bottom line? Maybe it's actually sourcing in Latin America or Mexico or something like that, and then developing those relationships so you can, maybe enter South American markets eventually and start selling there. I think it's anything south of North America, which is South America, duh, is kind of like this own kind of weird black box of like, no one's talking about it. No one wants to understand it, it seems like. And also, how do you not serve 1 billion plus people in Latin America, South America, Central America as well? So that's kind of the genesis of why I was like, how do you serve and how do you work with these kinds of cool companies and people and things like that? So that's why, I think it's really cool information. Plus, like, I mean, it's kind of a built-in vacation. I don't know how hot it gets in Mexico in July. I'm assuming it's super hot.
In June, but it'll still probably be pretty. I
Yeah.
haven't checked either, but we're going to be inside for most of it, except
Air
in
conditioning does exist down
where
there.
we'll be
So,
on the beach.
well, of course. And I mean, like, there's so many cool opportunities, and I think it's cool to travel and also have your. This almost seems like because you guys are going to factories too, right? Like having hands-on, kind of looking around factory. Is that part of it?
Yeah,
In
there
one of
should be some field trips that are involved. All of those details are still kind of being ironed out on
Cool.
exactly where to go and stuff. But there'll be agents and some people that are there as well. That whether or not your particular product is there, there still is going to be people that are agents that are going to be able to help you source. And so I think that this is pretty good for anyone.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's really cool, and like you said, I know it's evolving too, and I just think kind of the brain trust that's going there is going to be also very helpful as well. But yeah, hey man, I don't. I know it's it's a Friday afternoon, and I know we covered so many cool things today. Um, what's coming up for you and the Brand Together team? How are things and has business since we last talked with you, and what's new on the docket besides the Mexico trip?
We're about to make our third hire this weekend, so I'm pretty excited
Third
about that.
total or like third
3 total with
additional?
me. Yeah, so like the
Nice.
second edition. We're going the VA route.
Okay.
So it'll be our first VA. So I'm pretty excited
Congratulations.
about that. Yeah, and I it took a long time because I wanted to find not just a warm body, but like someone who is doing exactly what we're looking for, which is growth hacking. And so someone who can be focused on growth hacking. And that's kind of where Brand Together is going. We're going to be doing a lot of marketing department as a service. And so I don't only focus on Amazon. In fact, for me, Amazon is like I'm trying
You're
to
all
like
about the brands, man.
leave Amazon as much as possible and really just focus on like brand growth instead. And we're also going to be doing analytics, category analytics as a service. And so, most people just kind of get their numbers, but no one knows what to do with them. And some people don't even know their numbers. I'm actually surprised on how many 6 and 7 figure sellers there are out there that have no idea about their numbers. And so for us, it's going to be about like really diving into the numbers, looking in, knowing where those opportunities are. Some people only look at their tacos at like a talk level. And if you have like 5 or 6 different products, like you don't know the profitabilities for real. So like unit economics, like a lot of my background was in research and economics. So unit economics and category analytics. And I'm going back to that. So that's our big thing.
Follow the passions. That's why I always tell people go back to what you know best and kind of let that lead the decision making process. That's so cool. And you're going to be in New York this next week, which I found out before the show, which is really
cool. Going to be
cool.
in New York all next week. Can't wait to see you. We'll have some fun for sure.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, you're meeting up with clients there, which is cool. We'll have to. there's a Yankee. I mean, there's so many cool things that are going on. New York is really kind of I've been once, and I got way too carried away, and I walked everywhere and I saw all the things. Now I'm just like, hey, let's get nitty gritty and meet with people and wait to see you guys again. It feels like forever, but it was only 2 months ago since Prosper that we saw each other. We kept running into each other, which was a lot of fun. So it'd be cool to see everyone again. Everyone's in like Europe right now. Like, what are they all doing over there? And then they're coming over here.
And now they're in London with Branded by Women with Danny's thing. So
right.
Danny's coming too, I guess.
Danny is fun.
So that should be a lot of fun.
This is what Danny's pitched with me, and I love Danny. And he goes, I need to get, you are invited. Like he said, you are invited. You are free to come. Like you can come and be there. Just make the trip. And I looked at it and go, all right, so I'd have to be in London. And then that weekend I'm flying back to New York and I'm gone a whole week. How do I make this work? And I was like, I have a family at home and I need to not piss them off. So I need to pick one or the other. And I think New York was the best bet too. So I love you, Danny, out there if you're listening to this for the invitation. But such a cool seller sessions and Branded by Women happening today, tomorrow, and I believe in there everyone's flying over next week
to New York.
Yeah, people
no
come
one travels more than these Amazon people, man. Like the whole thing of this is supposed to be, I think this all this pent up work from home COVID that now everyone just wants to do things all the time.
It's a wonder how anyone gets anything done. To
Which
be
is
honest,
why you need to come to Mexico.
I know. Well, hopefully people unwinded. Yeah, they get to move around, but they're the biggest travelers. I would say Amazon sellers are the biggest travelers. It's fascinating and fun all at the same time. But we will see you next week. I just got a bunch of gear on for the road, so I'm going to be doing some recording. So I think we can have a lot of fun with that. It literally just came. It's sitting behind my desk. I can't wait to do some recordings with like handheld stuff. I'm going to do my best impression of like a reporter. But we're gonna have a lot of fun. I think so. Stay tuned if you're listening to this for future episodes, special podcast episodes on the road. We'll be on the road for sure, and New York City. So I should make a big whole thing of production just myself. So thank you so much, Talal, of coming on again. Crossover Commerce. Have a good weekend. We'll see you soon. You're flying out when, or when will we be in New York?
Tuesday.
Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Well, thanks, come on, for enlightening us on the new Buy with Prime program and coming back on as a friend of the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and let people, you can reach out to me, Talal at brandtogether.io if you guys are interested in this Buy with Prime thing.
It's all on the bottom of the screen, comment section, however you need to get in touch with him. You're the foremost person that I think of when it comes to these ingenious things that Amazon tries to throw out there. And you're like, I know what they're doing. And I love it. It's so much fun.
I conjecture a lot, and I seem to be right. So I don't know, but let's see.
I'm trying to help you out, man. No, he knows it all. For guys, if you have more questions, Talal, we'll get to the bottom of it for sure. So reach out to him on LinkedIn and email as well. It's all there on the bottom of the section. So thanks so much for hopping on again, Crossover Commerce.
Thanks a lot. Take care, Ryan.
No problem. You too.
Bye, buddy.
Awesome. And thank you everyone else for coming on Crossover Commerce. Again, episode 246 of My Corner of the Internet. Thanks for joining us live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and listening to this after via download on your favorite podcast destinations. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Stitcher. We're on all your favorite podcast destinations. Just search for Crossover Commerce with Ryan Kramer, and you got us. Go ahead and let us know what you're thinking about every episode we've done so far and what else you would like to see. We're always looking for great new content as well, and bringing back people who are talking about applicable things like we did today. It happened a few weeks ago. We want to know and get people the information they need to make good decisions. And if this is a program that you think you want to learn more about, talk to Talal, and they'll help you out or he'll point you in the right direction. So that being said, I mentioned it earlier, going to be on the road next week and be in New York City. But if look for maybe some quick live streams and things like that, but you'll get more episodes of Crossover Commerce being released on the audio version while I'm gone. But until then, we'll catch you guys next time on another episode of Crossover Commerce. We'll see you guys at ASGTG as well as the eCom co-op event. Take care.